All right, good morning, guys. Today is Friday, March 17th, and as usual, we'll be going over analysis for US 30, gold, and EU. So the only trade that I'm in, so we can see gold, as we've been analyzing, we've been expecting gold to go all the way up. Well, not all the way up to like 2000 area, 2050 area. But that doesn't mean it has to go straight up. So yesterday, personally, I did catch some buys on gold, like a 200 pip move. But then we have this sell zone that's marked up for gold. Currently, I'm in a filler sell on gold at 1949, and that's where price is rejecting from. So if you guys want to enter this, you can enter, but use a small lot size, a small lot size such that so the stop loss for this is 100 pips. So use a small lot size such that if this trade hits stop loss, you'll probably be risking 0.25 to 0.5% of your account. So do whatever the math on that is. And again, how we approach filler entries, if price, so we have 3 entries lined up for gold, 3 sell entries. One is at 1949 area. The second one is in the middle of this sell zone within a sell zone or supply zone. So that's at 1953.70, 1953.80. The last sell on gold, which if price comes up here and plays out based on how we analyze these zones, I would go with a heavier lot size up here. This sell zone is around 1957 area. So if price goes heavily against us for this filler trade, again, what we do, we cancel these 2 pending orders and replace them. So ideally, I would be looking if price goes heavily bullish, and gold is heavily bullish right now, but you can see it's rejecting exactly from our entry point. The take profit for this is about 50 pips. So take profit is around 1943, 44 area. So if price goes heavily against us right now without any good retracement to hit take profit or to hit about 40 pips profit, then we cancel this second sell zone and this third sell zone. That's if you have set them as pending orders, and then you replace this with this. So I would move this to 1956, 50 area, and then I would move this one, the last one, to given that we have another sell zone coming up here, I wouldn't be looking to sell up here. I would move this third sell entry to 1960. So let's see how this trade will pan out. So that's the only trade that I am currently in. I did take a buy on gold yesterday, and I secured like 200 pips. But that was on another account. It wasn't on my main account. EU, this I missed. Well, I didn't miss this sell. So for EU, we have a daily, and once I place my sell, I don't care what price does, right? Like, this is my analysis. If price goes to stop loss, well and good. For me right now, I don't have any pending sell, this one or this one. I just want to see how this trade will play out. Since we're already trading live, if price does come up here, then I can enter on market. So right now, I don't have any pending orders. This is the only live order on gold I'm in. So if you're in this trade, you should be up about 10 pips profit, no drawdown if you entered when the market opened or when you entered when price came back up. But gold is heavily bullish. Look at how far away price is from the 9 EMA on the 5 minutes. So keep that in mind. That's why I'm saying use a small lot size. For EU, we have this zone, and I still expect this zone to be retested. So for you guys who are in the group, you saw that I sent out a trade that I missed getting filled in by like literally 2 pips. So we have a daily bearish high and bearish low on EU right there. So what I did, I saw this in the morning, and then I set 2 sells. I set 2 pending sells. So my first sell was at 106. Sorry, that's a buy. 1.06720. So I still have those pending sells. So if you guys want to put them in with me. So what is this? I had a 50 pip stop loss, I believe, or 50 pip take profit, 50 pip stop loss. No, this one was maybe a 40 pip stop loss. And you can see price literally missed filling me in by 2 pips if I'd gotten tapped in, that trade would have gone straight into profit. But this zone is still a heavy zone for me. So this is one of those trades I may do that strategy of going heavy on. One of those trades that you can, one of the 3 or 4 trades in a month you can pass a challenge with. Excuse me, because what do we have in here? We have a daily bearish low, we have a 4-hour bearish low, we have a weekly open, we have a 4-hour bearish high, and we have a daily bearish high. We do not have any we don't have any bullish zones in here. So what then I did, my first sell limit or sell order on EU is 1.06720. So then what I did, I divided this, the daily bearish high and the daily bearish low, and it's amazing. We have, so here again we have a sell within a sell. So we have a 4-hour bearish high, 4-hour bearish low, and I love this. Monday highs, weekly opens, this is what I want to see. Previous weekly high, Friday high. So what I did here, I divided this zone into 2, and I think the midpoint of this zone was what, 80. Let me look at my pending orders. The mid zone was about 68.52. So that's where my other pending sell is for. And you can see it's like literally almost in the middle of the 4-hour bearish high and low. So that's what I want to see for such trades. So when price comes back up, it might break this this one. Because I'll be going heavy lot size, I just want to do like maybe 20 or 30 pips, because when price comes up here, I'll probably go in with a 20 lot or something. Take stop level. And these are, if you're going heavy, when you set these trades, do, close your phone, close your chart, go and do whatever, because you'll be in profit maybe like 1,000 and you're like, okay, let me close for 1,000. And then if that trade plays out, you're like, oh, I could have made 6,000, I could have made whatever. So whatever lot size you do, if it's a heavy lot size, set your take profit, set your stop loss, and forget it. Whatever happens, happens. That's how I approach, or I'll be approaching these trades. So again, you don't need a 550 pip stop loss. You can put your stop loss above the Friday high, which also lines up with the previous weekly high. So remember, when doing your markups, always have Monday high, Monday low. I started off testing Friday highs and Friday lows, and they've been working for me. So you can also do that. So if price comes back up, so same as gold, right? What happened with gold? With gold, the other a few days ago, we had a pending sell. Is this the 30-minute? Hopefully. Yeah, we had a pending sell here last week. No, not last week, a few days ago, because this is a 30-minute chart. We had a pending sell on gold at 1938.50, but then gold came to 1937, so 10 pips short of our pending sell, and then it retraced all the way back down. So same thing I expect to happen with EU. I forget I put this on the 30-minute chart. So same thing I expect to happen with EU. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I thought so price was far away from the 9 EMA on the 30-minute. So this is fine. This is the 5-minute chart. So price is close to the 9 EMA. So we just need a break below for a trade to be in profit. Where was I? US 30 or EU? Okay, so for EU, I do expect the same thing. If price comes back again up here, I expect them to break the daily bearish low. So actually what I'll do, I'll cancel this first sell order. But this is what I had this morning. So if this one got tapped, I would have made an easy, well, I don't want you guys to focus on the money, but I would have made an easy, my take profit was 60 pips or 50 pips. So, do the math based on the lot sizes I'm talking about. So I would have been up pretty heavy already for the day. So when EU comes back up here, I expect them to break the daily bearish low and go to the midpoint. So same thing we've done with gold. What happened? Gold came back to 1938.50, where we had planned on selling a few days ago, and then it broke straight through, went to the midpoint, and it's literally rejecting to the pip. This is, when I tell you guys, because sometimes I see people asking, oh, do we need to sell? Just wait for the entry. There'll always be another entry. So for EU, what I'll do personally, I'm going to delete this pending order. This will be my first pending, and this is even better, right? Because this zone is a 69.85 so it's a 25 pips zone. So remember, a lot of traders out there normally have like a 50 pip stop loss on Forex pairs. So we are trading like a 25 pip zone. So for me, I'm always looking to get a stress-free and, good or optimal trade. So my first on sell order on EU will be 1.06852. I'll send these ones in the group, but if you guys are already here with me, then you can just set those. So my first sell on EU will be 1.06852. I'm not sure we're gonna get back up here today. My last sell on EU will be the daily bearish high, which will be around 1.06989 or whatever. So just around that area. So this one, I would be looking again about 500 pips. Stop loss doesn't have to be 500 pips. Stop loss can be above the previous weekly high or Friday high. So you can even do, for this trade, you can do a 10 pip stop loss, right? Look at that. Here you can do a 20 lot, right? If you lose this trade, you lose if ideally you're using a 200K account, if you do a 20 lot here and this trade hits stop loss, you lose ideally 1% of your account, which, you know, ideally for our trades, we are risking 0.5, 0.25 of whatever we are risking. But I'm just trying to show you like the what you can make from such a trade. And then even though it goes, you can even take your profit at, you can do a 1-to-1. You can do 10 pip stop loss, 10 pip take profit, go heavy. Yeah, so but these are the only times I'll go heavy for this trade. So I was prepared for this particular trade, these two trades right here. I had like a 5 lot set here, I had a 10 lot set up here. But yeah, so for me, I'll delete my first pending order, pending sell, and then I'll wait for price to come to the middle of these zones. So gold, let's see what's happening. So gold is still playing in and around our entry. So if you entered, what time is it? If you entered, you should have been at the height of this candle. We started the live session, what, 20 minutes ago, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So at the height of this candle, oh, this thing almost hit profit. Oh, wait, this was the market open candle. So you should have been up 1949, 1947. So this trade has dropped about 20 pips for the people who entered when the live session started. So again, you know, I'm in the trade. So nothing for EU, but if we're expecting price to go up here, let's see if we can catch any buys on EU to ride price back up. Let's see. Interesting. Okay, so for EU, we only have demand zones and we have too many of them. So I've started drawing demand zones within demand zones and supply zones within supply zones. So you can see in here, we have a big demand zone, but I have 2 demand zones within the demand zone. So I'm trying, you know, every day I'm trying to get, you know, much precise entries. Our entries are already precise as is, because as you guys have seen, we've had like little to no drawdown for most of our trades. And you can see it's rejecting from this demand zone. It rejected from this demand zone. Now we have an hourly bullish high and hourly bullish low here. So what I'll do here, I will, where is that tool? Oh, okay. I'll encompass this. So, no. I'll frame this in here. Turn this into green. So this is an area, an hourly area for me, and you can see it rejected exactly from the hourly bullish high and shot back up. But that's fine. If price comes down here again, the only entry I would be looking for is to buy at the bottom, so hourly bullish low, because this zone is a 125.098. This is like a 2 pip zone, if I'm not wrong. No, 123. Yeah, it's like 2 4 pip zone, so it's a very small zone. So for any other buys on EU, the first one I would be looking to buy at the bottom of the hourly bullish low, so around this zone. Let's see, and then that's to ride price back up to where we expect a heavier move. So for this one, maybe do a 30 pip stop loss. Ideally, enough. So 50 pip take profit. I think a 30 pip stop loss would even be pretty huge. Yeah, this is huge. I mean, it's not huge, but you know, 200 maybe. Yeah, 200 would be sufficient. And then my next buy on US 30 will be this demand zone, this other demand zone that I've secured down there. So the first one is around 1.06099. The other buy is around 1.06050. So 500, 50 pips take profit, 20 pips stop loss. So ideally for me, for FX pairs, my stop loss is normally 20 pips. Okay, so we have pending orders for gold and EU. So gold is still going up. Again, remember, you need to be in a small lot size, and today is Friday. So, all right. So let's look for US 30, which is ideally my favorite, and see if there's anything going. So we have an hourly bullish low on US 30. So what I'll do here, I'll also open my MT4 so that I see. Okay, so for US 30, so US 30 broke out of a trend line. So we have a trend line here. Again, it's up to you guys to be drawing these trend lines on your MT4 or trading view, because I don't like having trend lines on trading view. So all my trend lines ideally are on MT4. So I have this trend line right here. No, it's, see, they don't always match up, trading view and MT4, but I'm looking for buys on US 30 actually. Because if you see this is the trend line that I had. And if you draw this on MT4, you'll realize that the trade price broke out of this trend line. Let me try and replicate the MT4 trend line. So the MT4 trend line comes somewhere around there. The other one, this one ideally. So I know I'm not touching the lower high, but I'm trying to replicate what I have on my MT4. Yeah, which is not gonna work.
There's
But
gonna
anyway,
be news in 5 minutes also.
yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. So for me, what I've realized, this markups, I'm not saying news that it definitely matters, but if I'm entering, like I'm looking at like what's happening, like what price is telling me. But yeah, so we don't trade 5 minutes before news and 5 minutes after. But price definitely broke out of that trend line. And let's see what news that is. Consumer sentiment. Okay. All right. So ideally, no trading 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after. Let me delete this trend line because it's not matching up with what I have on my MT4. So price definitely closed out of my trend line on the 5 minutes. So what that tells me, and what I've seen in the past, is that US 30 might be ripe for a buy. So let's see what's going to happen. So news might fake people out, and let's see. So I'm still in the gold sell. So right now, what is this telling me, right? If I still have this pending order right here, and definitely we do have news, what you should be doing right now, go ahead and delete your second order at 19 if you can't stomach any risk, because what we want is for price to reject and come back down. So for me, I entered like literally on market open 1 minute after, so I was in profit about 20 or 30 pips. So technically this kind of played out, but if you entered a few minutes after I entered, which is when I started the live session, you are probably up about 10 or 15 pips. So I would still say if you have this second pending order set, go ahead and cancel it. If you have the pending order at 1953.80, move that to set a new one at 1956. 1956.40, 1956.30. For me, I'm still gonna hold this because I can afford to take this. And if this, so this whole week we haven't hit stop loss, knock on wood, no trade has hit stop loss. So it's only last week that we had, and last week it was filler trades that hit stop loss. So right now, the only thing I'm observing is US 30. So EU, we have those markups of where we expect price to go. So it's just waiting 5 minutes before news and 5 minutes after news. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. And yes, the other thing I'll be doing, I'll be looking for trades a little bit before market close, because yesterday, during this whole uptrend for US 30, there was literally an hourly bearish high and hourly bearish low. And US 30 came here, tapped the hourly bearish low, went to the middle, no, hourly bearish low, hourly bearish high, and this zone wasn't big of a zone, 270 to 240, and then US 30 melted to the downside. It only recovered during Asia session. And then you can see up here, US 30 came in, rejected literally at the top of that supply zone, and at the top of that supply zone within a supply zone. So that's why I sent that message earlier in this group for access to like the charts that I have. But anyway, that's something we'll be playing around. For now, I'll be giving you all access every now and then so that you can see. Because when I send the markups in the morning, like yesterday, for US 30, the markups that I sent, you couldn't see this was 316, right? Yeah, you couldn't see that hourly bearish zone. It was all the way past up here. So if you do have access to like literally my chart and what I'm seeing, you can trade this later, right? And set your pending orders, because you see that price is literally respecting every single markup that I've made in here. So yeah, so right now, for a perfect buy on US 30, it would be on the retest of this trend line if we are going to trend up. Overall, the bias on US 30 is daily. So that's why, I can say, even though, overall bias is bearish, but remember, for me, I'm a scalper, I'm an intraday trader, so I can trade both ways given the opportunity. And here we might be forming a bullish hammer candle. So this candle's wick is 58 to 88. It's 30 pips, so it's in the range. So when I trade a hammer candle, whether it's hammer inverted, I want the wick to be about 30 pips and over. So I don't want like a candle with 20 pips or whatnot. So I want like a strong candle. And you can see the reason I'm looking for buy here, and there you go, we have the news, it shot all the way up because we had an hourly bullish low. That is why and there you go. So I don't know if anybody entered from that analysis. Like if I think, to whomever said we have news, I mean, it's good. Yeah, it's good to consider news. But if you didn't mention that, I would have literally got into a buy. But that's fine. Missing a trade is not we'll definitely get another trade. Yeah, that was a perfect trade. So that trade would have,
Gold also shot up to 154.
yeah, that's that. Yeah, let it do whatever it wants to do. So go, yeah. So delete if you can stomach it. Sure, enter the next trade. But I'm not entering another sell on gold until 1956. But you can see it's rejecting exactly from that zone. Excuse me. Yeah, but this would have been a perfect US 30 buy. Yeah, if I didn't hear that message about news, I was literally going to buy US 30, and it would have hit take profit, because our stop loss is ideally 50 pips. Take profit is 50 pips, and actually for this stop loss below the trend line, and that trade would have just gone straight into profit. But that's fine. We'll get another trade. There's always another trade. EU. So this is what I want to see. I want to see EU coming back up. That is what I want to see. These buys are good, sure, but we have too many demand zones, because once you have zones like this, price can literally, because these zones can be liquidity zones, so price can literally just break and come to the very bottom one. So that's why I didn't put any buy for the top two, and ideally they're small zones. So this is the trade that I'm waiting for right here. It's the trade that makes sense to me. I still, so this is not, it's a good impulse, but so then what we do here is I see a potential, yeah, I think US 30 is gonna come back down. That is what I see. Yeah, so nothing on gold, nothing on EU. So let me wait on US 30. I think it's still gonna retrace to the downside, but I wanted to catch that little pump from the hourly bearish. Okay, so if it's going to retrace to the downside, right now there's no entry for it. There's no, even on my MT4, I don't have any trend lines for it. So the only sell zone for US 30 is up here. It's up here and up here, but yeah. Gold is still going. Yeah, and plus it's Friday, so I wasn't expecting major things. I missed my one good entry for EU. Oh, I mean, well, didn't miss. We didn't get filled in. Yeah, if this is a good time for questions, if anybody has questions, I think today might be like yesterday. The market just moving weirdly. Uh, So we have a lower high there. Okay. So at least we have a trend line on the 1 minute. We are about to make a golden cross on the 1 minute possibly. So that means price is likely to keep going up. On the 5 minute, let's see. Price is above the 9 EMA. So if price closes above this trend line, so you can see whatever time frame you draw a trend line, it should be holding on the other, because we drew this trend line on the 1 minute, and when we go to the 5 minute, it's still holding. So if price closes above this trend line and we get a nice retracement, and it looks like the retracement will be on this lower low, I might enter a buy there. Now, the only issue is we have a gap to the downside. So this gap between 32,011 and 31,992. So normally gaps need to be filled. So they might not fill it today, but so sometimes you can get a gap fill almost immediately. Sometimes you can get a gap fill after 2 days. So it would be a good buy if we had a closure above the trend line and retest of the trend line. However, this is my only issue with a buy. So if I would get into a buy here, let me see how big of a distance to the gap. 0.75. So this is about an 80 pip zone. So even with a 5 lot, getting back here, you'd be down about $400. So until this gap is filled, so let's see. But if we get like a like an exact retest and closure above, then yes. But if we get like this candle to break this trend line even slightly, like that will be a no for me. So I need this candle to exactly retest the trend line, and the best way to see it is on the 1 minute. So yeah, look at that, it broke below. So even though this 5 minute candle closes above, I wouldn't be looking to take that buy. So for me, the perfect retests normally tell me that my trade is valid, or my trade makes more sense. So even though this candle closes above, I'm not taking that buy. So gold is coming back up. If you didn't delete this, or if you didn't listen to me and didn't delete that, sure, you'd be in profit. But yeah, for me, the only sell I have on gold is still this sell. And right now I'm still in drawdown. So if it was maybe between Tuesday and Thursday, maybe I would have entered, but I don't like messing with the market on Friday and Monday, because we've already had like a winning streak. Give me 1 second. So this is an inverted bullish hammer candle. Yes, it's an inverted bullish hammer candle. That ideally means price is coming. I wish this was a inverted bearish hammer, but that ideally means price is gonna come back and try to fill that long wick. I wish if it was a inverted bearish hammer candle that's this big, 54 to 50, like 40 pips on gold, I would have entered with a big sell right there. But that's a inverted bullish hammer candle. So an inverted bullish hammer candle can show possible price, what is it? Price retracement to the downside. It can also show that price can come back here and try to fill that wick before any retracement to the downside. So for me, I'm still holding this trade. No need to gamble too much. All right, so let me mark up these zones. So we have an hourly bullish high, hourly bullish low on US 30. We do have a 30-minute bearish high and a weekly open. Now, as you guys know, I don't trade 30-minute and 15-minute zones by themselves. But if they're around like a weekly open or previous daily, I might be open to trading them, because what I can do here, if price comes down here, breaks below the trend line, retests exactly the bearish high, I can, and closes below, I can enter a sell and put my stop loss above the weekly open, or maybe around this candle, around this trend line. So that's ideally like a 20 pip stop loss, and on US 30, that's a small stop loss. So that's what, if price comes down there, that's what I would look for a sell. For a buy, so what I said, ideally gaps need to be filled, whether it's after 10 minutes, after 1 day, after 2 days, gaps normally get filled. Yeah, so for EU, nothing, honestly, nothing for EU. Okay, so US 30, if we get that gap close, let me see, I see a potential buy on US 30. Let me set this at the hourly bullish low. We would ideally line up with the gap. So this is one of those trades. It'll be an impulse trade because I see this trade going so fast. So 50, actually even 50 pips is big of a stop loss, but ideally, that's how we trade. Hourly bullish low. Okay, so the best entry would be a retest of the trend line. So retest and closure. Let's see, count down. The other entry would be that bullish low, but that's not an optimum entry. I'm just trying to catch very good entries. I'm not trying to gamble and get a weird entry. That would have been a good one though. But I'm still waiting. Still waiting down there. So the gap has been filled. So wait. So here is where I'm gonna go in the 1 minute. I want to see what price will do on the 1 minute at this trend line. So I need a perfect retest and closure above. So same thing here. I don't need any 1 minute candle closing. But let's see. I need a perfect retest. Let's see. I can set this. So 50 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit. So it's closing above that hourly bullish high. If this candle closes above the hourly bullish high, I might enter in a smaller lot size before, because this 1 minute candle closed above the hourly bullish high. If this current one closes above it, I'll enter the buy right there. But so I need this candle to perfectly retest this trend line and close above. But again, this current candle, because the previous one on the 1 minute, it closed above the hourly bullish high. So this is the buy zone that we have there. So you can see it closed above it. So if this one here does close above it, I will take a buy. So I don't need to say buy or sell. So I'm saying if this closes above it, I'll enter into a buy. Okay, so we have a gap to the downside. So we needed a perfect retest of this trend line. So we did not get a perfect retest. We got a gap sell, and this candle closed or pushed below the trend line. So right now I'll go back to the 5 minute, but I would need to see this one respected. So let's see, we have 2 more minutes. what is so that's a 30. So keep in mind we have a 30-minute bearish low down there. All right, so at this point, let's just wait for the 5-minute to close. Because this 5-minute can either break below and close below the trend line, in which case US 30 will dip. If it closes above, then we can reanalyze the buy. But right now, 1.5 minutes. So there you go. This candle is coming back in to fill in the inverted bullish hammer. EU, oh, I'm on the 30-minute chart on EU. So EU, here we are, okay, so we have a high low. So we have a high low on EU. We are about to form a golden cross on EU. This to me, 322. 3, so this is like 4 pips. This would be a bullish hammer candle. So I expect EU to go up because we've been having lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. Right now we've had a high low. So here for EU, I might get an entry for EU. So we have 1 minute for that candle to close. So remember, the perfect entry would be retest of this trend line. The next perfect entry would be retest of the structure. The other entry would be retest of the 9 EMA. But if this candle closes as a bullish candle, I will enter a buy on EU. I will do I think a 20 pip to 20 pip. So again, it's Friday. Use proper risk management. US 30, I think this candle is going to close below. Gold is going up. So let's see how this candle closes. But, I can see a golden cross forming on the 5-minute because price closed above the lower high, above structure, retested the structure, closed above, retested again, retested the 200 EMA, and it's closing above. So for EU, I will enter a trade. So I'm in that EU trade. So it's I think I did 200. So ideally 220 pips. So 20 pips, stop loss, 20 pips, take profit. US 30 close below the trend line. So this is where it gets very interesting, right? So because you can have this other candle, but close below the 9 EMA and close below the trend line. Yeah, US 30, I just see fake outs on US 30. So look at so let's see what happens when this 9 EMA, if it does cross. So right now I'm just anticipating the 9 EMA to cross the 200 EMA to the top, and that should push EU up at the very least like 10 pips. So I'm in EU, even though they're normally related, I'm in a gold sell and I'm in an EU buy. But for the last week, you've seen that gold and EU have been, and there you go. You've seen that gold and EU have been moving differently. So, and remember, we want the perfect sells on EU are all the way up here in this zone right here. So I don't know if I have, because I was using the 5-minute, the 30-minute chart, they might be ideally far off. So the perfect sells on EU are all the way up here. So in any case, I can ride this buy to the top if possible. Yeah, but I'm in an EU buy right now. Yeah, there it is. So the EU buy should be like 2 pips, 3 pips in profit. Yeah, so for me, when I enter my trades, I let the market do what it wants to do. Because to me, the buy on EU makes sense. I saw this structure, I saw this bullish hammer candle, and I see this golden cross forming. EU has been on a downtrend on the 5-minute. It just created a higher low. So To me, the trade makes sense. If I lose this trade, I'm not gonna feel bad because to me, the trade, it was a valid trade. So you're not gonna win all of those trades. Okay, so this is retesting the 9 EMA. We have a 30-minute bearish low. Now, what I'll say, we are in a gold sell, or I'm in a gold sell, I'm in an EU buy. I see a sell on US 30, right? So if you enter the the US 30 sell, because I'm seeing that sell coming in, just make sure you're risking or you're applying proper risk. So I need this candle to close because we've had this candle close below the trend line. This candle, 5-minute candle, came, retested the 9 EMA. It rejected exactly from there. We have a 30-minute bearish high up there, and we have this 30-minute bearish low. So the next candle might retest the 30-minute bearish low and reject to the downside, or retest the trend line and reject to the downside. Yeah, not sure if we're gonna get a retest. Yeah, not sure if we're gonna get any retest for US 30. Okay, so US 30 right now is on the previous trend line. It's on a trend line to the upside. So we have two trend lines to the bottom. So let's see, because I would need a retest of the 30-minute bearish high. I'll just play it out because I was gonna ride price up to the 30-minute bearish high, but I don't want to play around with that because ideally, trendline trading is not one of our strategies. But I'll get in with a small lot size to ride it back up. So same thing, 50-50. 50 pips stop loss, 50 pip take profit. Because we are testing a trend line to the upside, and we have another trend line to the downside. So, but that's just my own trade for US 30. And I'm using a small lot size. I'm not using a big lot size. Now we have a trend line coming down here. So that's the trend line that brought the trend to the downside. Then we have another trend line that's literally below the stop loss. So if US 30 breaks this, I'm not going to try to catch this other trend line. There's another trend line to the downside. So gold is in drawdown, EU is in drawdown. So again, this was 20 pips, so it's not too big, depending on what lot size you use. So this golden cross might not form. So, and that's fine. Let's see. So this US 30 trade, I'm in with a small lot size or smaller lot size, not a small one. Because for any downside, anticipate a retest of the 30-minute bearish low or the trend line that's up here. But of course, that doesn't have to happen. EU is still going down. Okay, so the only thing I'll watch is this. $30 bearish. Okay, so I'm almost at stop loss. Well, I'm halfway towards stop loss. And definitely sellers there. So if that gets taken, it means US30 might not come to retest this trend line or the 30-minute bearish low, which is fine. So this is a trade I just took off of a trend line. So remember, I don't use trend lines for entry as a primary confluence. So it took me out of stop loss. It's again at another trend line. I'm not going to catch that up. So right now I see US30. So remember, this is the optimum buy. Retest of this trend line on the hourly. So that would be my next area to buy. So right now, so that's the first loss I've had this week on the live session. Let's see, gold is still in a little bit of drawdown. EU is still like halfway in drawdown. But we have this trend line here. We have this demand zone in here. Yeah, so I wouldn't advise anybody to try to catch this to the on the way back. So I see it coming down here to this trend line. So for any particular reversal, so the idea for this trade is, so I have, of course, trend lines on my MT4. I was expecting US30 to come back up here and retest the 30-minute bearish low for me to enter into a sell. But it didn't happen. So even right now, it's rejecting from a trend line. And so long as I don't have other confluences, I really don't want to have another loss. So I lost like what was that like 0.5%. So that's not bad. Gold is still going up. EU rejecting to the downside. Yeah, so if that hits stop loss as well, that's fine. So if these two trades its stop loss, so I had this one that hit stop loss. This was just ideally my own trade, but maybe other people hopped in. So if this one hits stop loss and this one hits stop loss, EU hits stop loss. Gold I really don't care about because I'm in with a small lot size. So for me, so the only one I took a bigger lot size is EU. US30 was a small lot size. So EU I was in with a 5 lot or something. Let me see. I think EU I'm in with a 5 lot. Yeah. So if EU and US30 hit stop, so this one already hit stop loss. And that's why, right? It rejected from the trend line slightly and rejected again to the downside. So I wouldn't recommend looking for any buys on US30 until you get to this hourly trend line. Now, if price comes to this hourly trend line, I will go with a bigger lot size. I'll go with a bigger lot size. I'll go for 20 or 10 pips. And then that should help me recover that one loss. I'm not sure if that's going to happen during the live session, but if EU hits stop loss, I am done trading for the day. It's already Friday. This is the first loss of the week. So ideally, we should all still be heavily in profit for the week. So this was just like a small loss. Gold should have taken this with a small lot size, so you should be down just slightly. This one I took it with a bigger lot size. But anyway, even if all three hit stop loss, you should still be up heavily for the week. But that just goes to show you, right? You don't win every day, so it's called trading. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask. Right now, there's no entry even for US 30. The only sell for US 30 we could have gotten would have been the retracement or the retest of the 9 EMA, but I'm sorry, the retest of the 30-minute bearish low, but we don't have anything to help us sell US 30. Gold is still trending up slightly, so that's why I'd say to cancel your second pending order, because this just means it's going heavily against us. So you should cancel this one, put your second order up here, and remember now for this second order, if you're going to be in front of the charts, just make sure now to follow our strategies, to wait for the closure below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, and then that's how you enter. So if you're going to be in front of the charts, do not enter this on impulse, or go ahead and you can see price is about to get there. So for this second trade, if you're still right now in front of your charts, go ahead and delete it. And then how you will enter, wait for price. Price might go all the way up, right? So it's ideally how you want to manage your risk. You can still leave your trade here pending and see how the trade goes. But personally, what I would do, I would close this trade out. I see that the price is away from the 9 EMA, or it's being slowly trending up based on the 9 EMA. What I would do here, I would delete this, and then I would wait for price to keep going up. And then after price is away from my entry, maybe here or somewhere there, at the very least, then sure, you can set sell limit coming back down when price comes back down. The best thing to do would be to wait for price to close below the 9 EMA, retest the 9 EMA and close below, and then enter. So it might not be exactly at this zone right here. It might be around here, which is even better. And then once that happens, I'm pretty sure then gold will have like a strong move to the upside. So look at that. So EU is coming back into profit. So I might make my loss back in EU. And we finally might get this golden cross. So, the thing that's keeping me in the EU trade is this trend line right here. My stop loss is below a demand zone and a trend line. Not to say that price cannot reject from here and come and hit stop loss, but for me, this is a valid buy. US 30 just had a, so it had a bullish hammer candle 25. It had a bullish, it has a wick on top, but this is above a trend line. I'm not going to, no, yeah, because I feel myself trying to FOMO in, no. So I'll just let it be. So it closed with a, ideally a long wick at the bottom. I don't want to call this a bullish hammer candle, but this shows there's a lot of buyers here. But then the trend, so remember our overall trend for US 30 is bearish. Like that is what our overall trend is. So any of these short buys ideally are just short-term buys, and because we are scalpers, we can do that. But yeah, I'm not gonna do that because I see there's definitely a lot of sellers for US 30, so I don't want to FOMO. So the same thing we talked in the group a few days ago. No need to waste your leverage or your drawdown on trades that don't make sense, like trying to force a trade that's not there. Let's wait for price to at the very least come to this hourly trend line. And then at this hourly trend line, if we get a candle like this, hey, now you can buy. But at this point, here we're trading on no man's land. And the only thing we're using is a 5-minute trend line. So yeah, so such days are the days you guys need to ask questions if you have any. Let me see if there's any other trend line to draw this. Give me 1 second. See this right here. So these are equal lows. There you go. Yep, and this is like a equal channel. Yeah, so we might get, so this entry right here, so this is the entry I would be looking for. So when price is around here, then we have a 30-minute bullish high. So this right here is,
Where was the goal entry for a sell?
for EU, I'm sorry, for US 30.
Oh no, I thought you had a goal entry for sell.
Oh, good. Let me go back there just 1 second. I want to see how big this zone is. Nope. Yeah, that is so small. Just that would take that out. Yeah, this down here is the entry, and at least we have a better trend line here. So gold, the one that's current, so the one that's current and it's about to hit stop loss. So this is the filler sell. So that one was at 1949-ish. It came into profit about 15 pips. So the next one should be at, what did I say? Should it be at the top of this sell zone? I think I said to move it at the top at 1958. So for this one, if you have a pending order, go ahead and delete it. Like you shouldn't have a pending order, whether it's here, whether it's here. So what we'll do for gold now, we need gold to close below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. So for me, yeah. So we need gold to close below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, and then that's when we enter any other sales. But for now, just let gold do whatever it's going to do. So we have another supply zone within a supply zone. So right now, no pending orders for gold. The only gold trade, and it just hit that stop of 10 pip, 100 pips, and you can see how gold can move easily. Because this one with a 1 lot, you should be down 1,000. With a 0.5 lot, you should be down 500. So ideally, I recommend, like with a 200K account, I feel a lot on gold to be between 0.5 and 1. So between those two. So that one just hits stop loss. You shouldn't have lost a lot of money if you listened and did a feel a lot. So right now, to enter any other sell on gold, we need price to close below the 9 EMA, retest the 9 EMA, and close below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. Yeah, so US 30 is definitely breaking down, and you can see we have this channel right here. And you guys can, so remember how I personally use trend lines to recover trades, right? But this is the ideal buy I'm looking for down there. US 30. See chart. So I'll trade the trend lines to recover my loss. Because I've said you can trade the trend line and catch, like, but if you're trading the trend line, don't go for 50 pips or 20 pips, and then always make sure you have a take profit and stop loss. So whatever it is you trade or whatever it is you do with the trend line, make sure you're using proper risk management. So remember, trend line is not a primary strategy. I just use it to recover any losing trades. So I traded that trend line. I'm up close to 20 pips. So I'll go ahead and close that trade. So I almost recovered my US 30 loss. So this trades, you have to be quick, and you cannot go for 50 pips because ideally you're still counter trending. So for these trades, I go in with a heavier lot size so that I can recover. And you can see how you're able to recover when trading with a trend line. Yeah, so I caught that buy to recover the, so I've said this before. So, on the live sessions, I've said that if my trade hits stop loss, like right here, right? What did I say? So this one hit stop loss, and then we saw that, I said that this one on my chart, it's closing, it made like a sort of a bullish hammer candle, even though it's not an official bullish hammer candle. And I said there's no need to FOMO. So I've said if you hit stop loss, there's no need for you to FOMO into other trades. draw your trend lines and then wait for, at the very least, wait for price to hit a trend line and then enter the trade you would have formed into. So for me right here, I just did a 50 lot and then I was able to recover like, what is it? Three quarters of my loss. Yeah. But if you guys want to go for like 50 pips, sure. I mean, it would have been hitting in this time, but you don't want to hold that trade for so long on an uptrend. Or if you're, I'm sorry, you don't want to hold that trade for so long if you're counter trending. Because price can just give you those, go up 10, 20 pips and then fake out to the bottom and keep dropping. So I expect price to remain within this channel. And then when we get in here, and this trend line will align with the hourly trend line. Now here, maybe I can go for 50 pips or 100 pips. But so long as price is here, I'm just gonna catch 10, 20 pips, recover my stop right there, or my lost trade right there. And you know, that's how you do. Because now if we forward into this buy right here, because we saw a strong wick to the upside, and you know, unfortunately I didn't have this trend line on my MT4, but what I did, I came up here. So remember, when you have a trend line, make sure to, at the very least, be having two trend lines, a top and a bottom. So what I saw here, I saw this lower low, and then I saw this high low here. So here we have equal highs. And guess what? I just connected the high low with the lower low, and price literally rejected exactly from that trend line. So yeah, so ideally, I mean, I'm still down like $100 or $200 for the day because I just went for 20 pips. So and I think I got filled in a little bit later. So what I'll do for my end, I'll draw this trend line because you can see it's holding. I'll now shift it to my MT4. So I'll just do that. So whether you entered with me on this trade or whether you waited, you should have been in profit, and you should either be just down a little bit. What's happening with EU? Oh, it's still ranging. So if you rode for 50 pips, I'm pretty sure you recovered both your loss for US30 and for gold. I'm trying to draw this trend line on my MT4. Let's see. Livy, I don't know if you're in here because I know you're the good person who's been knowing how to trade those trend lines. I don't know if you caught that trend line rejection. I don't know if you're in here today. Probably not. Yeah, so we definitely have a channel to the downside for US30. See if there's any other. Other one is there's this one right here from this high low. So I'm just copying what's on my MT4. So this one was ideally the lower channel of this trend line right here. But you can see now we are in a new channel going down. Right? So for any reversals for a buy, if you really want to wait for confirmation for a buy, even though price gets down here, just wait for a high low to be created and then draw a similar. So this one we can delete, right? Because to us, so for a trend line to hold, you need a structural area. So you can't just leave a trend line like the way I had it here, because here I was anticipating for this to be set up as a higher low. So because that did not happen, if price comes down here and you see a lower low and a high low, like what happened with EU right here, draw your trend line to the upside and then look for an entry. So if you don't want to enter on a retest, on an exact retest, and you want a perfect entry, when price comes down here, wait for a lower low and then wait for a high low, draw that trend line to the upside, wait for price to break at the very least out of this descending channel or descending trend right here in here. So remember, price can break out of here, but remember this is still descending. So price can maybe still keep going down this way, but at the very least, wait for a high low to be created, wait for price to break out towards this channel, and then draw your trend line and wait for a buy. And I'm seeing that happening around where we're expecting a buy from. So that's how you trade trend lines. Without these trend lines, I couldn't have seen how to recover or how to try and recover my loss. So gold is stop loss. You shouldn't have any other pending order on gold. Right now for gold, wait for gold to close below the 9 EMA on the 5 minutes. And remember, they always do that. Well, not always. They mostly do that on Fridays. So they try and fake people out. And then maybe on Sunday or like at 1 or 2 p.m. later on today, then they actually take price where price is supposed to go.
So what's the main reason that gold spiked up so crazy today?
I mean, there's no reason, right? Because you so that's a general question, right? Because you can have either price action, you can have fundamentals. So there was no news today, right? But remember, so I've been saying gold will go up, right? Primarily because there's financial uncertainty in the market, right? You have like banks that are failing, and that's what happened ideally in 2008. That's how it started. And if you're here like the other day when I read what I journaled, when the what is it, Ukraine and Russia confrontation or war or invasion or whatever you want to call it started. So I journaled that during times of uncertainty, such as wars, market crashes, or financial issues, gold goes up and indices go down. So that's why for me, I am bearish on the long term, in the long term for US 30. But as a scalper, I can trade both ways. For gold, I am expecting gold to go to 2050. I'm expecting gold to go all the way up here. So that's how, like yesterday, I was able to catch a 200 pip buy on gold because I saw gold come to this hourly bullish low. I saw this uptrend. I draw my trend line here. I got into a big lot size based on the account size that I was trading yesterday. I made 200 pips on gold. So yeah, for me, I'm looking for, in the long term, I am looking for buys on gold. Now here we don't have anywhere to buy gold at. Yesterday, we did, but that happened way after. This happened at like market closure. But right now we do not have any demand zone for gold. We do not have anything else for gold. So for me, the reason I'm expecting gold to go up and the reason gold is going up is because of the financial uncertainty. Also remember, all these things about inflation, because one thing you can't do, you can't just print money and just expect nothing to happen. So gold will always be a safe haven. So what happens during, and I've seen this, because even before I started trading, I just used to invest in the stock market and all of that. So what I saw time and time again in the last 15 years, every time there's economic uncertainty in the world, COVID, wars, whatnot, people move their money from stocks and put them into inflation, quote unquote, inflation proof instruments such as gold, crypto, and such assets. So that's why, so that's what's happening right now. So ideally what's happening is that the smart people are taking their money out of banks, out of savings account, out of, what is it, stocks, and then putting them into such assets like gold, crypto, real estate. So that's what's happening in the background. So if you ask me why is gold pushing up, for me, the reason gold is going up is because of the financial uncertainty. And it's a bubble that's gonna pop, whether it's today, whether it's after 2 years or not. So yeah. So that's the reason gold is going up. And you can see we're already at 1960. So we have a sell within a sell zone, and then we have a bigger. So this is where I would expect gold to reverse. And if we go on a higher time frame, we will probably be creating a double top, I think. So if we go on the daily, yep. So actually right now is when we're supposed to create that double top. But remember right here, we still have this quote unquote, I don't know if this gap on gold was ever filled, because this was market closure. I mean, they tried to fill it. So right now, and that's why we had that entry right there because, and I hadn't seen this actually personally. So I think, so that's why we would have had to have a double top if we were to have one. So, and this was last year. No, this was Thursday.
No, this was February last month.
Okay,
2 months ago.
yeah, last yeah. So that was last month. So before that, So you can see at the very top here. Yeah, so this heavy sell is all the way. The last time price was there was March of last year. So we ideally make
We're
like
about the same time.
yeah, about the same time. So that's where we would expect. So in here, in between 2070 and 2015. So that's where I expect some good selling on gold. But between now and then, gold, right, you can see it broke through that 100 pip zone so easily. So yeah, but anyway, risk management always number one. Never, when I say I feel a lot, use a feel a lot. It doesn't matter whether you make 500, whether you make 200. The day the feel a lot, if you enter with a heavy lot instead of a feel a lot and it goes against you, that's the day you can burn your account easily, and then you start wishing that you used a smaller lot size. But anyway, let's go back here to US 30. So we still have price respecting this zone. And respecting that trend line. So let's go on the 1 minute, see if there's a change. So on the 1 minute, look at that. On the 1 minute, we still have a lower low, lower low. We don't even have a high low on the 1 minute. But at the very least, we have price closing above the 9 EMA on the 1 minute right now. So this is, if you guys, like a few days ago when US 30 melted heavily, and I showed you guys that if you just wait at the very least, so let's even use the 5 minute for now. Even for, so yeah, this is a perfect reenactment. So at the very least for US 30, if you're not trading this, if you want to catch like 100 pip move, a 50 pip move, at the very least, wait for price to close above the 9 EMA and retest the 9 EMA and wait for a high low, right? Because this can keep trending down. Price can literally remain below the 9 EMA the whole time. And then finally you get an entry down here or down here, and then you wish that you had caught a buy. And then I did share with everybody my US 30 chart. So that's only for today, right? So in the general chat, I sent out a link. So this is exactly the chart that I have for today. So for today, even after the live session, you can trade without me, just so long as you're using our strategies and you're using risk management, you'll be able to make money even without me. So there's that trend line that's coming back up here, but again, I'm not trading that trend line. So there's a trend line from the left on my MT4. Yeah, but for me, I'm waiting for price down here. I might actually not even trade anymore today. I just want to see what happens with EU. So there you go with the EU. We've created a golden cross. We've created a bullish hammer candle. Perfect. So this is perfect for our EU trade. We've created another high low. So this is perfect. This is perfect for our buy. The week of this one was 302 to 351. Okay, so okay, and this is just for me. I've scaled up on my EU entry. But for you guys, do not scale in. Or is it scaling in or scaling out? Scaling in. If you add a buy, make sure that you're using a small lot size. So it doesn't mean that I use a small lot size, but just use a small lot size if you're gonna enter that, because you don't want to have a losing trade. Like if we already lost US 30 and you haven't recovered from this trade right here, and we already lost gold, hopefully used a small lot size, as I said, you don't want to now double in and then price goes heavily against you and both trades hit stop loss. But just FYI, I'm in an EU buy. I added an EU buy right there. So my goal today is just to recover my loss on US 30. So remember, I'm like still 200 down.
Oh, gold is flying again.
Yep, yeah. Just leave gold. I mean, let gold do what it's going to do. We can. I wish we had a buy opportunity like yesterday. If that was during the live session, we would have ridden this all the way up. But let it just do whatever it wants to do. Don't even sell at that sell, because it's a sell zone within a sell zone. Do not, yeah, just focus on US 30 and EU. So personally, I scaled in, I added another lot size on EU. If you do that, for you guys, use a small lot size. Do not use a bigger lot size. See, so that trade already won. I'm just leaving this ones on here so that I can send them out in the group. So I'll send both the one that hit stop loss and the one that won. Yeah, I'm not even gonna look at gold because I don't want to FOMO into it. Right. Now, if you scale in with EU, what you can do, so remember, always draw your trend lines because it will tell you where price is going, right? So the best thing for any buy, whether you're in the previous buy or the other buy, the best thing would be for price to break above and retest, close above and retest and shoot up. Now, if price holds this trend line, if we get a hold here and we get another hold, ideally, personally, I'll close that smaller, that scale in trade and then just hold this other one. So this other one isn't a filler trade for me, but it's not as big as this other one that I just put in. Yeah, so we have 7 more minutes before our live session ends. Yeah, so today for the week, we did have our first loss of the week, but every other day during the week we've had wins, but that happens. Gold, don't even look at gold. I don't advise you guys to look at the very least, wait for price to close below the 9 EMA. So just watch that. EU might come back and retest this trend line for any continuations to the top. US 30 is just US 30 is being held by the Friday low and previous weekly low. Yeah, but yeah, I don't see anything else to go over. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask. If not, I'll see you guys on Monday. So
Quick question.
Mhm.
I just got on not too long ago, and I was looking at the EU.
Mhm.
So what was your take profit for EU? How long was you holding? I know you said you had scaled it. What was the
Yeah.
beginning entry?
So you mean the take profit or the actual entry? The actual entry?
Yes.
1.06376.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so even for me, I'm about to go out to lunch soon, but for US 30, at the very least, wait for price to close above the 9 EMA on the 5-minute and retest. Any other questions? Gold, just leave gold for now. I see I do see gold trending up for the rest of the day. What I see is that we're probably going to have the actual move on Sunday. So that's what I see for gold. And because keep in mind, so gold, like what I said, it's a safe haven. Right now we're having, I think the US session is the last one to be traded today for the week. So right now you might be having people putting in orders or whatnot. So gold in my opinion, gold today can easily be manipulated as opposed to EU and US 30. So for gold, I would say wait for next week, wait for Sunday, wait for Monday. I think we're going to have definitely good entries for gold next week. And once we do get those entries, I think it will be such a nice entry because you can see this uptrend this whole time. So next week, I think the trade of the week will be a gold trade. Yeah, but other than that, I'll see you guys. I can see US 30 starting to hopefully form a trend to the upside. So hopefully this is established as a lower low, and then we get a high low, and then we get price to close out of this channel. But you guys trade safely. We've already made a lot of money for the week. No need to lose all your profits for the week, and it's on a Friday. Don't force a trade. If a trade isn't there, do not force a trade. And just let the trades we're in play out. What's the question?
No, I was saying the US 30 is still gonna go down more because if you look at the heat map for the US 30, it's just like only 2 greens and everything else is red.
Yep. Yeah. So remember, Yeah, so remember, so that aligns with our sentiment or with our prediction, because I still expect US 30 to go up I'm sorry, to go down to 29,000. So long as I don't have any sell. So remember, the purpose of this trade that hit stop loss was to ride price back up and retest that trend line, that hanging trend line, so that it would align with the 30-minute bearish low. And then from then on, we could have sold. But unfortunately, price did not retest. So price only retested the 30-minute bearish high just once. So yeah, so definitely US 30, I'm still bearish on it, but right now I do not have any sales for US 30. You can enter a sell on the 9 EMA, you can enter a sell on the trend line, but this is not a markup. At that point, you are using secondary confluences. So remember, what are primary confluences? Primary confluences are bullish zones and bearish zones. Just a second. Primary confluences are bullish zones and bearish zones, daily highs, daily lows, weekly opens, previous weekly highs and lows. That is it. Those are primary. So other than that, the 9 EMA, the trend line and structure only tell us where to enter a trade from. So sure, you can enter a sell from the 9 EMA, but what is protecting your trade, right? Because when we enter, like for example, this EU sell we've marked up, we said that if we sell here, we want to be protected by the previous weekly high and Friday high and the daily bearish high. There you go. That is a trade you want. Here, if you sell, sure, you can see that it's being held down by the 9 EMA. If you were to sell US 30 down here, other than knowing that my stop loss is 50 pips, other than doing this, and knowing that US 30 is ideally going down, sure, it's good, but what is holding price from faking you out? And you can see this is a descending channel, this is another descending channel. What is preventing price from going up here, retesting the 30-minute bear? And you can see where the 30-minute bearish low is, right? The 30-minute bearish low in this picture right here is intersected with the top of the bearish channel. So maybe this is the best sell right here for US 30, right? Wait for the retest of the descending channel or descending trend line on the outside. There you go, right? So instead of doing it, so I always call this no man's land. There's nothing to protect your trade. So I always want to be protected by a markup or a primary confluence. But yeah, so it is going down. It looks like it's going down, but yeah. So, but for me, I need an exact entry. If a trade does not make sense to me, I'm not forcing any trade. Any other question? EU is coming back up. This is what I like to see. Okay. Well, I'll send this one's in the group. I'm not gonna send any pending orders today because it's Friday. You guys should just go relax. I'll send my results. I'm ideally quote unquote break even. I'm still down. I'm still down in EU, but I scaled in for EU.
What was the take profit for EU again?
20 pips.
20 pips. Okay.
Yeah. So for FX pairs, my take profit is, so ideally is 1-to-1. Risk or stop loss 20 pips, take profit 20 pips. And my previous trade that I scaled in is about to come in. But now watch this trend line right here. Whatever happens when price reaches this trend line, but I love seeing this, right? I love how we have this golden cross, and I love how price is being held up by the 9 EMA. But not to say that price cannot come to this trend line and reject back down heavily. But what I want to see for this buys, see if we have a lot of time for this buy, is that I want to see this 5-minute close above this trend line and retest. So let's see, I can hold on for 3 more minutes, but that's what I want to see. Yeah, and you can see that rejection. Let's see what's gonna happen in 3 minutes. But what I can see here is that price is being squeezed. So it's being squeezed in between the 9 EMA and in between that trend line. But to me, US 30, so US 30 definitely still bearish. Gold is bullish. EU is bullish. So Actually, I might hold my EU trades for longer. Let's see if that breaks up there. Let's see what my take profit is. For me, for EU, what I'll do I'll do a 50 pip take profit on the one that I scaled in. Let me just modify my order. Excuse me. C1. Entry 63.59 ideally. Take profit. Okay, so nothing too much to observe. Price is still being squeezed in between the 9 EMA and the trend line. Yeah, so just watch what price does here. If you get a inverted bearish hammer candle, I would say just close out your trade. If you get a strong bearish hammer candle, or scale out. But other than that, I'll see you guys on Monday. That's if nobody has any other pending questions. All right, bye guys. Have a good weekend.